It reached out to the Arabic world that wanted to have peace with the Arabic world.
When I started drinking warm water to help with my memory, my friends laughed at me. But when they saw how much I'd improved,
1964, when the PLO, the Palestinian Liberation Organization, was founded, the West Well, I want to start with the accusation of the occupation. Israel was minding its own business ever since it existed. It reached out to the Arabic world that wanted to have peace with the Arabic world. In 1964, when the PLO, the Palestinian Liberation Organization, was founded, the West Bank was in the hands of Jordan. It was Jordan. And Gaza was in the hands of Egypt. It was Egypt. So the PLO was founded in 1964, not because of any occupation. They wanted to drive the Jews into the sea and get rid of every single Jew in the Middle East. Israel tried repeating. The only reason the Palestinians lost in 67 and they lost Gaza and the West Bank is because they preempted an attack against Israel. And over again, Israel reached out to them to make peace with them. In 2000, Ehud Barak offered them 97% of the territories back, and they refused it again and again and again. In 2005, when Israel withdrew out of Gaza, they said, okay, we're going to give you your own state, we're going to give you your own territory. Israel forcibly removed its own people fighting the IDF by force, removed them out of Gaza. Not only to remove the people, they dug out dead Jews' bones from the cemeteries because they knew exactly what the Palestinians are going to do to the cemeteries. So in 2005, when Israel withdrew out of Gaza, there wasn't one Jew alive or dead in Gaza. They turned over the key to them and said, okay, great, now build your own place, you are independent. I know people that Israel even left them the greenhouses. Israel was exporting 50 million flowers to Europe in 2004 out of Gaza. The greenhouses, the fruits, the vegetables, the flowers. They left them to the Palestinians so the Palestinians can start they can have an industry where they can support themselves. I know a businessman from New York who even raised $14 million to make sure the Palestinians will be able to get paid salaries as they move over and they continue building the greenhouses. And what did the Palestinians do within 24 hours after Israel withdrew? Not only they destroyed every single Jewish synagogue in the area, they destroyed the greenhouses, ripped out the pipe, and even stole the copper out of the pipe. And then they had an election. So in their first election, the first woman elected to the cabinet of Hamas was a woman by the name Nidal, the mother of al-Muqawama, they called her, the mother of the resistance. And she ran on the platform, I killed 3 of my sons, because she had videos of her sons, she dressing them in suicide bombers to go kill Israelis. She said, I already gave up 3 for the cause. I have another 7 to give. That's why she was elected. So that's a democratic election for Hamas. Israel did not put the Palestinians in a prison in Gaza. Hamas put the Palestinians in a prison in Gaza. Gaza could have been turned into Singapore. They had the money. They had more money pouring into the Palestinian territories and still do from all over the world. And what did they do with it? Build a tunnel infrastructure underneath bigger than the subway system in New York instead of helping their people. So those who scream about the occupation, the Palestinians have brought this on themselves again and again and again.
Wow. But do you accept that Palestinians should have the same human rights as the rest of us?
Absolutely. All humans are equal in the eyes of God.
How can they do that? Okay, but here's the thing, but when it comes to this issue of occupation, I was very struck at the start of the response to October the 7th that very quickly Israel was able to turn on or off the tap of energy, the tap of water, the food supply, etc. That is only achievable if you are effectively occupying another country. Otherwise, you're not able to do it. So Israel has had this control over Gaza and the people that live there, which to me does not afford those people the same human rights as Israelis enjoy. It's inarguable, because if they didn't have that control, they couldn't turn on and off the energy or the water supplies.
This is how you protect your house and family from dangerous intruders.
This new subscription-free mini Wi-Fi camera delivers more advanced security features than traditional home security systems without the need for costly installations or monthly fees. It's making traditional home security cameras a thing of the past. Introducing Mini Wi-Fi Camera, a breakthrough security camera developed by Alex and Ben, former employees of a home security firm in Silicon Valley. Their innovation has turned the home security industry upside down, already saving homeowners thousands of dollars. As you might expect, the big security camera companies aren't too pleased about this. After years of working as technicians for a surveillance company in Silicon Valley, Alex and Ben realized that homeowners were in desperate need of a more advanced yet affordable security solution that didn't require subscriptions. They saw how outdated and overpriced traditional security cameras were, so they decided to take matters into their own hands. With years of technical know-how and a genuine desire to serve their community, they created a unique plug-and-play mini Wi-Fi camera that offers superior security and ease of use. When their former company offered $2.7 million for the rights to their invention, Alex and Ben turned it down. That's when they knew they had something truly game-changing. A group of investors joined their mission to make home security more affordable, and they perfected Mini Wi-Fi camera for mass production. Mini Wi-Fi camera is the most cost-effective way to enhance your home security. Unlike traditional home surveillance cameras that are fixed and offer limited coverage, this Mini Wi-Fi camera provides outstanding security benefits. It records in higher resolutions and includes features like enhanced LED night vision, a wide 150-degree viewing angle, remote live feed, two-way audio, full HD video, and more. And the best part, you can control all of these features directly from your smartphone or computer. Whether you're a tech-savvy electrician or a stay-at-home mum with no technical experience, setting up Mini Wi-Fi camera is incredibly simple. Just follow these 3 easy steps. First, download the app. Next, scan the QR code with your phone to connect to your Wi-Fi. Mini cameras, magnetic base attaches to any surface, so you can place it anywhere. Walls, fridges, garages, or even take it with you on the go. No cables, no batteries required, you're all set. In less than a minute, you can monitor your home from your phone or computer. Best of all, this mini Wi-Fi camera saves you hundreds of dollars every year, compared to traditional security systems. Since its release, over 1 million units have already been shipped, but the major home security companies are still trying to fight back. They've limited its availability in stores, so now it's only available online, and they're pushing to take that away too. The good news is Ben's and Alex's company is offering a huge discount on Mini Wi-Fi camera before it becomes the new gold standard in home security. But this deal has caused demand to skyrocket, so it won't be available for long. Click the link below to purchase Mini Wi-Fi camera directly from the official website. The creators are so confident in their product that they're offering a 30-day, no questions asked money-back guarantee. With the need for better home security at an all-time high, there's no time to waste. Click the link now to get yours at a 50% discount.
But why did Israel get to this point? Remember, in 2005, they gave them everything, and they said, we are out. The Israelis even fought among themselves because, some people did not want to move
so don't get me wrong.
Gaza.
I think Hamas squandered all the money they were given, and Hamas has been the enemy of its own people. And when Hamas did what they did on October the 7th, they knew it was immediately sentencing to death thousands of their own people in the process. They knew that, right? So I think Hamas has got to go. I think Netanyahu has to go as well, and his right-wing headbang cabinet members who do speak in a genocidal way. None of this is ever going to lead to peace. But let me ask you, Brigitte, about Loki's claims about October the 7th. He says that there was this Hannibal directive. It's been much speculated. Haaretz says that they found evidence there was. The IDF has never admitted there was a Hannibal directive. But it is possible in the fog of war that day that I guess some of the casualties came because of Israeli fire. We don't know that. But Loki wants people to believe hundreds and hundreds of people who died that day on the Israeli side were killed by Israel.
I don't believe that. That has not proven. And if I have to choose between believing the Hamas talking point, who control the Ministry of Information, and the Israeli IDF, I would believe the IDF because I have lived in Israel as a Lebanese. At one point, I had a home in Lebanon, a home in Israel, and my boyfriend who lived in the West Bank at that time. And I worked as a journalist. And knowing how the IDF operates and knowing how the Israeli military operates, they operate by rules. They don't invent information like Hamas does. And when you are in the throes of things like what happened on October 7th, a lot of people do not know a lot of the facts that happened on the ground. But we do know one thing, that Hamas committed such atrocities, and we're so proud filming it and showing it that will give you goosebumps, that a lot of people can get sick, they cannot view it. And I'm shocked that Loki hasn't even viewed the footage. You have to view the footage to understand the monstrosity of the crimes that were committed on that day.
Yeah, I mean, I watched this BBC documentary which had all the footage from the music festival. And honestly, Loki, it was one of the most sickening 2 hours of my entire life.
Have you been on social media for the past year?
Yes, I have.
You have seen a constant stream of mutilated children. You have seen a constant stream of people being lifted up out of the rubble. How can you even bring into the conversation 2 hours of footage in comparison to 12 months and 77 years of this type of treatment?
So the deaths of
But I have a question for the guest. I would like to ask this question. Now, the organization Act for America, which you represent and are a part of, seems to be quite the patriotic outfit. It's also been criticized widely as Islamophobic, but I have some questions about the finances of your organization. It's funded by the Fairbrook Foundation, which has funded the Central Fund of Israel, the Zionist Organization of America, and also illegal settlements in the West Bank. In addition to that, your organization, Act for America, has been funded by the Becker Foundation, which has funded Christians United for Israel and the Israel Project. In addition to that, your organization was also funded by the Emez Foundation, which funded the Israel Project, the Central Fund of Israel, and the Zionist Organization of America. How, in any way, do you stand for peace when the organization which you front and presumably are employed by is also funded by organizations that are invested in illegal settlement in the West Bank?
Actually, my organization, which I run and I'm the founder and chairman, I not only work for it, was founded after September 11th to protect America against the threat of radical Islamic terrorism.
It shares funders with those building illegal settlements in the West Bank.
You already spoke your mind. Now it's my time to answer. My organization was founded to impact policy in the United States, to protect the United States from the threat of radical Islamic terrorism coming from Al-Qaeda, ISIS, Hezbollah, or whoever happened the terrorist organization are. We work with Muslims. We have Muslims on our board. We have Muslims who are members. We had every single conference we always had a keynote speaker who is Muslim that speaks because they care about America.
You know what? I feel like we're getting. Listen, I feel like we're getting.
Not let me finish.
Brigitte, I feel like we're getting a bit.
That you're talking
I feel like we're getting a
about
bit. Look, fascinating though it is, the makeup of your business, it's not really the point of what this debate is, right?
Right, it's not the point, exactly.
The point I would make, Brigitte, is this. I do think Loki has a good point about the settlements, right? What is going on in the West Bank with this rapid, aggressive expansion of settlements is completely outrageous. It's illegal, it's wrong, it shouldn't be happening. Why is it happening?
Sorry, you cut out. You mean the settlements in the West Bank?
Yeah, the expansion of settlements on the West Bank in the last year has been completely outrageous.
Well, look, there's a radical wing within Israel that wants to expand the settlements. And the settlements is an issue. I agree with you.
You're funded by the same people.
There are a lot of people who are very upset about the settlements.
You're funded by the same organizations.
What does this have to do with the funding with what we're talking about? They are Americans who support the funding of protecting the United States, not Israel. Our work is devoted to protecting the United States. Has nothing to do.
Let's get back to the bigger picture.
Please.
So, Brigitte, do you condemn the expansion of the settlements in the last year on the West Bank?
Say that again?
Do you condemn the expansion of the settlements on the West Bank in the past year?
Yes, I do. I think they are going overboard with the settlement.
Okay, good.
I think somebody needs to revisit looking at the settlement and how they are expanding.
Then that's good. Loki, do you condemn what Hamas did on October the 7th.
I have a question for you.
Well, hang on.
Based on
you
what
stop
you
asking
just said about
questions for a
settlements.
minute.
I'll answer your question in a
Okay,
second.
she's made an admission that she condemns it.
No, she condemns the expansion
Loki,
of settlements.
Fine. Loki,
and these people also
okay,
fund
Loki.
her.
At some point, you are going to... Loki, you are going to answer some of my questions.
Which I have done.
Okay, do you condemn what Hamas did?
You've already asked me that.
Not directly, you haven't answered.
I will not condemn people based on Israeli military talking points.
Okay, good.
But I have a question for you.
I have a question for you. You don't condemn mass murder?
Obviously, I condemn mass murder.
You won't condemn it by Hamas?
You're talking about a specific political context in which the information
No, I'm talking about
clear.
Mass murder of people on October the 7th.
By the Israeli military.
You see, it's just absurd.
So I have a question for you.
I think you lose all credibility when you say that.
I have a question.
This Nobel Prize-winning discovery can get you back to 2020 without glasses, contacts, lasers, pain, eye drops, or recovery time.
The best part? This incredible new technology doesn't just improve the clarity of your distance and reading vision. It can help eliminate
The mother of all bombs. Just hearing this name is enough to make anyone shudder. After all, this isn't just another weapon in the US military arsenal. It's a terrifying force of destruction, one of the deadliest bombs ever built. There are nations around the world that are well aware of its power. They know what happens when this bomb drops. They've seen it. But for Iran, the fear cuts even deeper. Why? Why is Iran in particular terrified of this bomb? What is it about this monstrous weapon that keeps Iranian leaders awake at night? Keep watching to find out. The fear surrounding this bomb isn't just about its name, it's rooted in its raw power. While it's referred to as the mother of all bombs, that isn't the device's official name. It's officially known as the GBU-43B Massive Ordnance Air Blast, or simply the Moab. Doesn't quite have the same punch, does it? Well, the ominous nickname actually came from Iraqi President Saddam Hussein, who once spoke of the mother of all battles during the Gulf War. But now the US military has taken that phrase and bomb technology to a whole new level. So what is the mother of all bombs? The Moab is a large-yield bomb developed by Albert L. Weimortz Jr. from the Air Force Research Laboratory. Despite what its name might suggest, the Moab isn't a nuclear device, which is crucial to understand. Why? Well, because Moab is frequently lumped together with nuclear weapons whenever there's talk about the destructive power of these devices. This misunderstanding has muddied discussions about the bomb's true purpose, which we'll talk about later in the video. While the effect of the Moab might seem nuclear in scale, this bomb is very much a conventional weapon. But what a weapon it is! This thing is a behemoth, 30 feet long, 22,600 pounds, and packed with 18,700 pounds of H6 explosive. These specs make it more than just a bomb. We're talking about a force of nature. And this isn't even the heaviest non-nuclear bomb in the US arsenal. That title belongs to the Massive Ordnance Penetrator, or MOP, a truly colossal 30,000-pound bunker buster, designed to tear through hardened targets. But back to the Moab. Its sheer size isn't the only thing that's impressive about this bomb. Its explosive power is also staggering. The Moab uses H6 explosives, originally developed for underwater blasts because it's shock-resistant and stable. And let us tell you, this bomb is packed with explosives. In fact, it carries the largest amount of explosive in any non-nuclear weapon in the US military inventory. To put that into perspective, compare it to the Joint Direct Attack Munition, JDAM, a frequently used precision-guided bomb. The JDAM weighs between 500 and 2,000 pounds and carries only a fraction of the explosive power found in the Moab. The difference between the two is almost shocking. The JDAM can cripple a target severely, but the Moab, it can wipe it off the map entirely. Now, this comparison between the JDAM and Moab might seem odd, but this is only due to the misconception that the Moab is a so-called dumb bomb, lacking precision and guidance. And sure, there were reports of the bomb being deployed by kicking it out of the back door of the MC-130 aircraft, which might make it sound like a crude barrel bomb approach. But that's far from reality. The Moab is actually a guided munition after it's dropped from the cargo doors of an MC.
They're called bionic boomers. Seniors once riddled with debilitating arthritis pain, given a new lease on life thanks to Dr. Paris's unusual method for relieving stiff, achy joints.
The transformations have been absolutely incredible. I'll never forget when I saw Greg jumping on a trampoline when just days before he couldn't get out of bed and thought he was going to live the rest of his life in a wheelchair.
But Dr. Paris, also known as Dr. DIY, showed Greg one simple at-home technique that helped him to do what no other doctor or treatment was able to do before: restore his mobility and regain his quality of life.
MC-130 transport plane, a parachute deploys, slowing its descent. Then, the weapon detaches from the pallet and GPS satellite guidance kicks in. The Moab is guided to a predetermined target by its onboard avionics, ensuring impressive accuracy. This is a far cry from the days of the so-called daisy cutter bombs, unguided bombs used in Vietnam that created massive blast zones without any precision. The Moab, on the other hand, has it all: the explosive force and the accuracy of modern guidance systems. It's no longer about random devastation, it's about surgical, controlled destruction. The bomb is stabilized by 4 grid-like fins and glides to its target, ready to unleash its power at the exact location and the exact moment it's needed. But what are the locations targeted by the Moab? Well, the Moab is designed to strike certain types of targets, mostly located in hard-to-reach places. Think of underground facilities and deeply entrenched tunnel systems. However, this leads us to another common misconception about the Moab, that it's a bunker buster. No, the Moab isn't a penetrator, which means it won't drill through rock or hardened concrete. Instead, this device is an airburst weapon that detonates above the surface to maximize its destructive radius. This makes it ideal for softer or medium resilience targets like canyon floors, mountainsides, or the rugged hideouts that enemies might build deep within cave systems. Just imagine a bomb descending into a canyon or toward the mouth of a cave. When it explodes, it sends an immense pressure wave crashing into every crevice, engulfing anything and anyone within reach. Now, in terms of coverage, it's not quite the same as a high-altitude bomber mission. Heavy bombers like the B-52 or B-2 can cover far larger areas by dropping multiple smaller 500 to 2,000-pound bombs, thus blanketing a target. During the Vietnam War, for example, the US Air Force conducted over 10,000 of these bombing raids using B-52s. During a typical raid, 2 groups of 3 aircraft would drop around 168 tons of ordnance, raining terror on an area 1.5 by 0.5 miles. The explosive force of a single raid was equivalent to 10 to 17 Moabs. But the Moab was never intended to replace those types of attack. It was always created for precision on a grand scale, delivering destruction over a focused area in one catastrophic blast, the kind that would be wasted on an open battlefield but devastating in enclosed environments. This brings us to another crucial use of the Moab: psychological terror. You see, the Moab's massive mushroom cloud mimics the notorious, haunting image of a nuclear detonation, a visual designed to shock and intimidate. During its development in 2003, which we'll also discuss in a bit, the Moab was prepared as a psychological tool for potential use in Iraq, where the US intended to intimidate troops and break enemy morale. In this regard, the Moab developers took cues from the infamous 15,000-pound BLU-82 bomb used in Vietnam and later in Afghanistan to devastating psychological effects. Seeing the impact the so-called daisy cutter had on terrifying adversaries, military strategists set out to create a
I want to make a statement. A statement is somebody who spent at least half a century in the conservative constitutionalist movement. The 3 great conservative constitutionalist presidents in the last century: Calvin Coolidge, Ronald Reagan, and Donald Trump. And Donald Trump has the potential to be the greatest of the 3. And I want to give you a little bit of my background for those of you who don't know. I don't just come on here because I have a TV show. I come on here because I have decades of experience in the conservative movement, in the constitutionalist movement, in the liberty movement. And I want you to know that with my background, that when I say that Donald Trump has the potential of being the greatest conservative president in the last century. I mean it. 1976 and 80, I worked in the Reagan primaries. 1980, I worked in the Reagan general campaign. I spent 8 years in top executive positions in the Reagan administration, including Chief of Staff of the Department of Justice and Deputy Solicitor of the Department of Interior, as well as a stint at the White House. And from the Reagan Revolution to the Tea Party movement in 2010, I was involved in the Tea Party movement, one of the outspoken leaders of the Tea Party movement. I wrote the most widely read conservative book since Barry Goldwater's Conscience of a Conservative and Milton Friedman's Free to Choose. This one here, Liberty and Tyranny. Millions and millions of you read this book, a primer on conservatism and liberalism. I've been involved as one of the leaders in the Convention of States movement with our friend Mark Meckler, over 5 million members. I have one of the largest syndicated radio shows that I've had for nearly 25 years on the planet, with millions and millions of listeners on AM and FM terrestrial radio, through podcasts, through YouTube, through Sirius Satellite, and so forth and so on. That's thanks to you. And of course on Fox, when we're not dealing with football like tonight, and this will be the end of it, we have the #1 primetime evening weekend program. We're very proud of it. We're very proud to be here. And I was president of Landmark Legal Foundation. It's the most consequential constitutional conservative legal foundation in half a century. And thanks to our litigation and the help of others, school choice is now a possibility. And you're thinking, well, Mark, aren't you lovely? Good man, pat yourself on the head. That's not what I'm doing. I'm trying to provide you with some of my credentials. So when I tell you that Donald Trump is one of the most conservative and has the potential to be the most conservative president this entire century, I know what I'm talking about. He's consequential, he's historic, he's iconic. The things he did in his first term and the things he's doing now right out of the chute, we've never seen anything like this. Now, some of you might be saying, well, what about all these tariffs? I'm a free market conservative. Well, I'm as free market as you can get. But I went back and I looked. I looked at President Reagan. You see, Lighthizer, who is the head, basically, of trade and tariffs for President Trump, was the deputy under Ronald Reagan. And so, as our friends at Cato in 1988 pointed out, and they were very angry about it, Reagan was more into, say, quotas. He was more into limitations on what other countries can ship into our country. Let me give you some examples, as Cato pointed out. He forced Japan to accept restraints on auto exports. The agreement set total Japanese auto exports at 1.68 million vehicles in 1981-82, 8% below 1980 exports. He tightened up considerably the quotas on imported sugar. Imports fell from an annual average of...
חברים, אני רוצה להראות לכם מה הקשר בין קפה למסחר אלגוריתמי ואוטומטי. בואו נכין קפה, נראה ביחד. זו מכונת הקפה שלנו. אנחנו צריכים להפעיל אותה עם כרטיס. בואו נלך לקחת כוס. הכוס, נבחר כוס לקפה. יש פה כמה כוסות. הנה, זאת כוס טובה. טובה מאוד אפילו. אנחנו נשים אותה ונבחר קפה. אבל לפני זה אני רואה שהחלב שיש מחובר זה חלב סויה. אני אף פעם לא הבנתי.
JD Vance back in Munich with a truth bomb in front of the Europeans who were reportedly just stunned in their seats, uncomfortable, shuffling. When it comes to free speech, which is, I mean, Europe has just been absolutely abysmal on, and immigration, which, take what I said about free speech, times 10. So the sitting vice president of the United States goes over there. These are allies, yes, but man, he did not mince words. Here's a little of JD Vance in Munich yesterday.
Heard a lot about what you need to defend yourselves from, and of course that's important. But what has seemed a little bit less clear to me, and certainly I think to many of the citizens of Europe, is what exactly it is that you're defending yourselves for. What is the positive vision that animates this shared security compact that we all believe is so important? And I believe deeply that there is no security if you are afraid of the voices, the opinions, and the conscience that guide your very own people. Europe faces many challenges, But the crisis this continent faces right now, the crisis I believe we all face together, is one of our own making. If you're running in fear of your own voters, there is nothing America can do for you. Nor, for that matter, is there anything that you can do for the American people who elected me and elected President Trump.
Sorry, that was earlier today. But it's amazing to hear him say it, no?
I think so. I think he has to basically set this agenda very, very clearly. The Europeans are going to be at the forefront of like this next phase of very difficult decision making. I'll give you one example. The amount of rules and regulations that they make around climate change and the impact that it has economically all over the world, including domestically in their own countries. How are they going to deal with that now that, you know, we have to recognize nothing the Europeans do actually has a meaningful impact on climate. Whether you agree with it or not agree with it, it's irrelevant. You need to look at China and India. That's where the whole game is played. So if you can't say that inside of Europe, inside of the borders of Europe, how will you ever change the rules? That's an example. A second example, there is not a single company that's getting started today that has a desire to locate an office directly inside of the UK or Europe. Why? Because the regulatory framework will now come and really go after you if they don't like a single thing that you're doing. So what now happens to the European economy? They get deprived of their chance of having some small modicum of technological supremacy. What do you think happens to those economies? So if you add all of these things up, it all goes back to the root cause that JD's identifying. If you can't say it, you can't fix it. And so they have to decide what page they're on.
And it's even worse than that, Chamath, if you think about the fact that they're not content to just have this regulation impact their citizens and to make unbelievably stupid decisions like the Germans turning off 3 of their remaining nuclear reactors and then building a pipeline from a dictator to buy oil directly from Russia. The French figured it out. They were 90% at the peak nuclear. Now they're about 60 and about 20% renewables. They're totally energy independent. The European Union wants to regulate American companies. We have companies like Adobe regulation impact their citizens and to make unbelievably stupid decisions like the Germans turning off 3 of their remaining nuclear reactors and then building a pipeline from a dictator to buy oil directly from Russia. The French figured it out. They were 90% at the peak nuclear. Now they're about 60 and about 20% renewables. They're totally energy independent. The European Union wants to regulate American companies. We have companies like Adobe wanted to buy a tiny company called Figma for $10-20 billion. You know who stopped it? It was the Europeans. It was the UK. It
was the UK.
So yeah, they're going after our companies and what we're doing. My advice to those companies were, you know what? If you're Adobe or Figma, stop selling your product in the UK. Block the UK. It's a meaningless market. They're so deranged with the regulations. They want to have them apply to the rest of the world. And to Chamath's point,
Elon was battling this when it comes to free speech and X in Europe. And the free speech battle, I mean, it's a reminder of why we left England, why we as Americans said, you know what?
Reminder.
The most important thing to us, Amendment number 1, is free speech. And they don't have it anymore. It's all but dead in Europe. There was a great Tablet magazine piece. I actually just pulled it in advance of today. And it's written by a guy named Paul du Quenoy. And he goes on about what just happened in Germany with this compact magazine and how there's a rule in Germany. There's a law that says that they can shut you down. They can shut your speech down if they think that it is inconsistent with their constitutional order, the constitutional order of their country. And so they went in, they think this is a, quote, far-right magazine because it supports this AFD party that is very anti-illegal immigration. And
Who could have thought that this simple ear trick could help fight off dementia? Did you know that memory loss is not a condition of the mind? Most people don't know this. But the real reason behind Alzheimer's and dementia has less to do with age, lifestyle, or genetics than we first thought. Here's the problem. No matter what type of pills you take or what treatments you try, you're only treating the symptoms. Listen up. Eventually, you'll start to forget names or tiny details.
I'd say they ought to be returned by 12 o'clock on Saturday, and if they're not returned, all of them, not in drips and drabs, not 2 and 1 and 3 and 4 and 2. Saturday at 12 o'clock, and after that, I would say all hell is going to break out. And I don't think they're going to do it. I think a lot of them are dead. I think a lot of the hostages are dead. I think it's a great human tragedy.
President Trump with a dire warning to Hamas after Hamas said it would delay the release of 3 hostages slated for this Saturday, claiming that Israel violated the ceasefire agreement by blocking relief supplies and targeting civilians. Israel's defense minister calling the move a blatant violation, warning its military is on high alert while Israel decides next steps. The president also reaffirming his commitment to rebuilding Gaza while speaking with Fox's Brett Baer.
It would be a beautiful piece of land.
Would the Palestinians have the right to return?